What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the other side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? So, welcome to the Wednesday discussion. So, if you have not already, please go back. Our cadence are Monday and Tuesday, our topics. So, this week we talked about the Alv for what do we say, like 90 days?
Lost your audio there for a second.
Oh, am I back?
There you go. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, the company's been under siege for like 90 days or what have you. Then on Tuesday, we discussed 23andMe and how that's continually rolling through. I don't know how they're going to recover when it comes to the lawsuits and things of that nature. Like they'll be fine, right? That company will persist, but just they're retroactively trying to protect themselves, which I don't know how that works. And then today's discussion, Wednesday will be coming up pretty soon. And then Thursdays, everything else, movies, books, or I'm sorry, Thursdays are throwback or Ask Us SP, and then Friday, everything else, movies, books, games, all that good stuff. But without further ado, I'll give it to Shannon.
All right, everybody. This article is also from Axios.com, written by Ina Fried, and is titled Apple, Google warn governments can spy on you via push notifications. So this being the discussion, right? So to put it out there, it's not like they did this out of the goodness of their hearts, right? First off, right? So this didn't come out because apparently this has been something that the government's been doing, like keeping tabs on people through push notifications. But the fact that there was a Senator Ron Wyden, wrote a letter to the Department of Justice noting that unspecified foreign officials were demanding push notification information from Google and Apple, right? So Google and Apple were already giving this information over to the government, right? But it's, I don't want to say it's self-serving, but they didn't really divulge this until, the senator came out and wrote this letter, right? And then they were like, yep, they've been doing it, but now we're going to do a better job of notifying you whenever, someone wants this type of information. And it's like, well, you're doing it now. And again, they said the federal government told them they couldn't report it, right? So, but now that it's out in the public, this is why it's out there, right? So, and nobody thinks about push notifications this way, right? So like you get a push notification from whatever app or whatever, and honestly, I didn't think it was going through Apple or Google. I thought it was from whatever infrastructure was hosting it for whatever the app was, right? But they're like, no, with these, they are actually going through Apple and Google, and I was unaware of that. So I didn't know they were a kind of a middleman between the app and the servers it connects with when it comes to these notifications. So, but yeah, that was a little weird to me. But so why? It's kind of like being a hero arsonist, right? Like, so if someone is an arsonist, they set a fire and then they save people from it. It's like, yo, you set the fire. You know what I mean? Don't come out here and try to pretend like you're doing right now. You know what I mean? It's like those. I don't want to get into politics, but those people that were all for January 6th until January 6th turned into January 6th, right? And then they're like, oh, no, that's just terrible. Like, oh, you were supporting it until you realize how bad it was going to be, right? I don't know if any of you ever watched Arrested Development, but it's like whenever they do something and they're like, I think I've made a mistake. Like, yeah, of course you did. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
%. But yeah, the federal government prohibited them from sharing the information, but Google came out and they said in a statement that they were the first, to quote them, the first major company to publish a public transparency report sharing the number and types of government requests for user data we receive, including the requests referred to by Senator Wyden. So all of a sudden they share the senator's commitment, right, to keeping users informed about the request, blah, blah, blah. It's like, come on, like these requests had been getting made and you guys were not saying anything about it. But so what this should spark for people that are worried about their privacy concerns, right, is for them to turn off notifications, right, when it comes to their apps. So like if you don't want to get push notifications that the government is going to be in on, or possible foreign governments are going to be in on, right, because it's one of those things where we talked about multinationalism before, right? So this could have been the EU out there like, hey, we the way we do things is we make everyone aware whenever their information is put out there or requested, right? So it could have been the EU, a friendly nation. We can't assume it's, it's a nation that's not friendly that's doing this, right? We can't always assume it's Russia, China, or whatever. It could be a friendly nation saying, hey, we like to our customers to be made aware of these things, and now it's out there, and it brings these types of things to light. So I don't know whether or not they did it out of the goodness of their heart. I doubt it, right? It's because it got leaked, right? That foreign governments are looking into this, but I don't know. Don't try to pretend like you're looking out for me. You know what I mean? When you weren't doing it before you got called out for it, or before it became public. You know what I mean? So, Ryan, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, exactly. It does feel self-serving, like, hey, look, we got your best interest at heart. But we for years we've been giving this information away, and I would assume it'd be some stuff tied to Patriot Act and things of that nature, right? Um, uh, because I mean, they literally can weaponize your phone. So they like this person, John Doe is here, or they've been here, or it can also help them in investigations, right? Let's say you're a murderer, you know what I mean? Like for lack of a more reasonable crime, we can figure out where you've been, not only because you've hit several cell phone towers and things of that nature in that area, but also because of we know this notification was pushed at this time and then it popped here at this location. So we have figured out that you were near the crime of some sort. And can now use that information against you. So we've talked about in the past where law enforcement does have a lot of access to cell phone data, which yeah, we want to keep people safe and want to keep them out of harm's way, or to be able to figure out, what I mean, the crime. Like the worst episodes of 48 Hours are the ones where they don't figure out who committed the crime, right? Because we want them to figure out who did it, and we want them to be held accountable, and we want the family to find justice. But at the same time, they're not just able to pull the data of criminals, they're able to pull all of our data. So everybody's being surveilled 24/7. It's just the world we live in, unfortunately. But yeah, I was not aware of this either. And it is kind of crazy that the U.S. government's been doing it for a while, but somebody else is going to do it. Okay, we got to bring it up. Got to stop it now. So I think you can't have it both ways. But yeah, I honestly did not know that's the way that the notifications were able to be, I guess, retroactively. The metadata is able to be pulled. So, like, let's say an Amber Alert pops off, they could literally target people and individuals and figure out where they're at. It would be my understanding. So that's pretty crazy. Because what if? Because that's something you can't override. I don't think you can cut off Amber Alert. So I don't know if that one is. I can see if it's a McDonald's app or it's your banking app or what have you, social media, right? But there's certain things I don't think you can cut off.
I know the emergency testing system or whatever is one of those things you can't, right? Like you
Yeah,
can't do that one, but I want to say I've seen it in my phone before where it asked me about different alerts and whether or not I want them. I thought it had a slide on it. Maybe not. I can't remember. I'd have to look at it again. But I mean, I want to clarify that I'm not against the notifications thing, right? Because remember, I've said it numerous times. I'm the Patriot Act guy. Like, hey, find whoever you need to find, right? Like
yeah,
if I'm caught up in it, if I'm not doing any dirt, I'm fine, right? That's my
right, right.
feeling behind it, right? But my problem with this is that they're trying to pretend like they were looking out for our best interests, right? Like if you'd have just come out and been like, hey, you know, this is what it was years ago. And again, in the article, it says the federal government told them they couldn't have, right? So if they would have come out and done that, they probably could have just went in there and seized everything, you know what I mean? And then,
Right.
some of these people would have been right in line when they would have been talking about, the government overreaching, right? Then they'd have been like, yeah, you probably got a case there, right? All of a sudden it's US Apple, you know what I mean? US Google, you know what I mean?
Right.
US Department of Google, stuff like that. But yeah, no, I don't. Again, me being the Patriot Act guy, I'm like, look, find the terrorists, find the killers, do whatever. Like you look at my information. Like it's not, it didn't show I was anywhere near that. Now, where that comes into play, right? What we deal with every week is if it could be manipulated, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
stolen, things of that nature, right? Like protect it if you're going to do it, right? Don't don't take it without my knowledge and then not properly protect it. You know what I'm saying? So
Right. Right. And then you brought up the and the event, right? January 6th. They're still parsing through that data, right? Those people told on themselves in a lot of cases. So they're able to pull the metadata off somebody else's phone to figure out that you were there. Um, and then same thing happened with the riots when it came to the George Floyd and all that stuff, where they were able to take I remember there was one instance where they found an arsonist, right? So we talked about arson. They found an arsonist off of someone else's camera, right? They figured out that this person was in the hallway of, I believe it was a police station that they set fire to. And it wasn't the person who was setting the fire, it was the person who was recording the person setting the fire. They were able to figure out, like, okay, this person was the one who started the fire because they were in this location. The fire broke out at this time, right? The fire suppression system kicked in at this time. This person was in the hallway who did it. It's pretty crazy how they're able to take all this data and use it to figure out who committed the crime. Um, but I didn't know it was also push notifications. Also, like it's a ping, right? So that's the thing as well. So again, I just think there's a balance to be found there because these bigger corporations, because of their influence and they're on everybody's phone, have to be able to play nice with the government to a certain extent because a give and take there. Um, and in this case, I again, like I believe it was something where it wasn't that big of a deal on their part until now it's a big deal. Let's get out in front of it. Let's how can we spin this? Oh, the evil government stopped us from telling you that we were surveilling you through your push notifications. So
And and we sold your information, but it's only because the evil government made us do it.
right, exactly. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised that there's a lot more tools and things of that nature, things that we have not brought up, like when it comes to your metadata and your location and how it's being used, not necessarily to surveil you, but those around you who are doing nefarious things. So, and it's funny you brought up the arson thing. It's you're the second time it's been brought up in the past couple of weeks. There is a term for it. It's firefighter arson. Uh, it's a long-standing problem that impacts the fire departments and communities across the nation. History suggests that firefighter arson is not a new phenomenon, and in fact, the number of media reports suggests there are likely over 100 arrests per year of firefighters who commit arson. Um, like they get bored, they want to be a hero. But it was brought up. It was on the Breakfast Club. Charlemagne gave him the donkey of the day because this dude was setting so many fires. Is how they finally caught him. It wasn't just one a year. He was setting multiple fires. Then he would always be the first one on the scene to save the person. Duh, because you're the culprit. You're the one starting the fire. Um, so yeah, there's a thing. It's an actual term. So, but definitely continue to tune in throughout the week so you can hear nuggets of information like this, right? Like now you know something new. You can share this with your friends. Um, Hit us up Monday, Tuesday, our topics, Wednesday discussion, Thursdays. So either be a throwback from our over 500 episodes to go back through, or Ask Us SP, which will be interview. Not this week. I don't have anything lined up. Hopefully, the beginning of next year, I'll start to line some more interviews up. And then Friday, everything else, movies, books, games, all that good stuff. Definitely tune in for that one because we've been consuming a lot of media. And then we got to talk about the biggest trailer of all time, GTA 6. So hit us up at the website to go by our name. You can hit me up personally. I'm at RyRy Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy. You can find me on LinkedIn, Clubhouse, Twitter, and Threads. Stay safe, stay secure.